Rick. Thank you for the introduction. So hi, everyone. I am Megan. I'm the owner of Studio Me Fitness, and I'm really excited to be here to share my story with you, my journey, and let you in on all of my challenges and successes that I've had. So my journey started back when I was a little kid. It was really before I knew that it started. I didn't realize the impact of what that would have in my life today. I have always been an athlete. I was a tri-sport athlete in high school, playing tennis, basketball, and track, and really through that learned about hard work, dedication, commitment, how to be a team player, how to work together to achieve a goal, how to set goals, which really helped me carry that through the rest of my life. I mean, it's helped define who I am. And I was lucky enough then to take that into college and was fortunate to be able to play Division II college tennis, which is a pretty cool experience, but it was also very challenging balancing my time because I was also a pre-dental biology allied health major, which was pretty exhausting trying to balance always being on the tennis court 5 days a week, practicing a couple times a day, lifting, and then getting my biology degree and traveling on the weekends, and it was just really tough. So about my junior year in college, when I had to make the decision if I'm going to be applying to go on, what I'm going to be doing, I just said, I'm done. I'm burnt out. I can't do this anymore. And I kind of threw everything up in the air, and now what am I going to do? I really didn't want to just finish with my biology degree because I knew what that meant is moving in and working in a lab. And that just wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted to do. Started to explore some other options, and for a quick moment thought about switching to exercise science or exercise physiology, something like that, and then decided, you know what, I just want to finish, get done. I'm tired of school and studying, and I just want to be done. So graduated and then moved on into my career. Now with that also meant that the college and team part of tennis and sports was completely done. It was over with. I didn't have that anymore. As I moved into my career, I started in the lab, did not want to do that, but did it anyways because it was the job that was available to me, and only lasted there for about 6 months. And at that time too, when I was there, I'd also tried to get back into fitness. I started playing tennis again at an adult league. I started working out again, but it was in a big box gym. It just wasn't the same. I was finding that I was spending most of my time in the locker room or at the smoothie bar versus actually working out. And then throughout that, left kind of both the big box gyms and my career at that time and moved into another career. It was a little more meaningful. I was at a nonprofit helping facilitate bone marrow transplants using my biology degree, and spent a lot of time there, about 11 years. And during that time was when I found the group fitness scene. So from there is when I really started to get into teaching classes. So I first found a Yelp offer and started taking the classes at this small boutique and just fell in love with that piece right away. And about a year or so, being there, about a year and a half of being at that small studio, the owner had actually asked me if I wanted to start teaching classes, and I kind of brushed it off thinking, no, I don't think I want to do that. And then all of a sudden I was like, she approached me again and I was like, yeah, let's try this. Let's do this. And I was doing on-the-job training at my new job. And so I thought, yeah, it's very similar. Let's do this. And just fell in love. So a lot of I was trying to get my friends and stuff to come over there, and they just weren't going to go to that part of Minneapolis. And so it was outside summer. We're very seasonal here in Minnesota. And I just decided to do an outdoor boot camp and found a local park. And we had about 15 people and was charging something ridiculous, like $5 a class, like absolutely ridiculously cheap. But once summer was up, it's like, what's next? How am I going to take this? And I did that for a couple of years before actually thinking longer term of what I'm going to do. And then that started to form the idea of Studio Me and how that's going to happen. So I started doing a lot of research and started thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? What does it look like if I even run or open a business? I'd never been around really any entrepreneurs in the past or leading up to that point, and just even knowing and been around other business owners. And so I was just reading a bunch of books, and I was actually traveling with my tennis team out to Palm Springs, California for a tournament that we were watching. And the girlie, so I'm the person on the left in the picture, and the person on the right was at the time who I went into business with. And she just started asking me a lot of questions about the studio. She was kind of looking at that time for a career change for herself as well. And then we just started talking and getting to know each other better. And about 2 months after we got back from that vacation, so it was March, about May or so, I went back to her and said, okay, were you serious about this? We're serious about maybe partnering to do something. And from there, we set out, we signed a partnership agreement. We finished our business plan of what we wanted to accomplish and what we wanted to do, checking out where we wanted to be, found a space, signed a lease, and then so 6 months from the time that we said we were going to do it till we opened our doors to Studio Me Fitness. So that was all great, super easy, right? That part was just diving in and doing it. We did it very quickly. But once we got it, we just assumed once we opened the doors, clients were going to come. Yeah, we didn't know anything about running a business. She did some marketing stuff in her previous life, and I've worked, I've managed teams, so I kind of knew some of that stuff, but didn't know anything about marketing and advertising. And we just knew we had our classes, right? So we were just focused on the group side of things, and we had morning classes, which we both taught and were there, and then we had evening classes and weekend classes. So we spent a lot of our time, because we still had our full-time jobs when we opened, we'd be at the studio in the morning, go and work our full-time job, come back at night, and then be at the studio on the weekend. Now, all of our time was spent in the business versus on the business. So we never saw any growth. It just was a lot of stress. It was a lot of stress on our friendship, and it just took a big toll. And eventually my business partner realized and saw the writing on the wall that there's no way we can both make a living doing what we're doing with this. I mean, the way we're going, there's just no way. Our friendship is starting to now be affected, and I'm not happy, I'm stressed, and we dissolved our partnership. So exactly 1 year after we opened, we signed the partnership dissolution papers, and now it was all me. Now, not only was I still working my full-time job, 40 to 50 plus hours a week, to now trying to take over everything at the studio and run it, figured out how to get new clients, how to grow it. Everything was all mine. So I just say I lost a lot of friends in the process. I didn't see my family. My relationship with my husband suffered. And then that's when it's like, I have to do something. I have to take that leap and figure out what I can do, because I don't know what I don't know. And that was the first time that I found the NPE Accelerator program, which it was at the time. And that really saved my business. From there, I wasn't able to do half of what was in that program, probably not even 30% of what was actually in that program. Bless Jonathan, who was my coach at that time, who helped push me through and just keep me moving. Let's do the things we can. Let's just go. Let's keep moving on to that next lesson. Take even 5 minutes to do this, knowing that my time was so limited. But the biggest thing that saved me, and you'll see it on my numbers later, was raising my rates. So we raised our rates over 56% at that point. It was the scariest thing, and probably the scariest still is to this day still, that we've done in the business for me. But we could have half the members and still make the same amount, if not more money. And it just set us up on a path to go forward. Without that, I don't think I would have been at the place where I was finally able to quit my job in December of 2016. So it was over 2 years of working my full-time job, still trying to grow the studio, not paying myself anything, and just burning the candle on both ends. There was nothing left. And then once I quit, I was in this phase of, now what do I do? I'm used to having no time to work on this. I'm always at the studio now. I've got all this time during the day that I have no idea where to start or where to even focus my time. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about running a business. It was just flying by the seat of my pants. So kind of kept that going. It did some stuff, went back to some of my accelerator materials, and we stayed pretty steady. Like I said, you'll see this in my numbers when we get going, but it was pretty steady. And then last year, my husband and I took a trip to Florida because I knew I was going to go to the MP Mega Conference. I just knew I needed to do something, and I just didn't know what it was, but I needed help. And so we took a little trip, and then at the end of it, we ended up at the Mega Conference last year in October. And then signed up with NP Academy from there, which was last October, and took it from there to accomplishing a lot this year. And this is kind of all the stuff that we're going to get into. This is not an easy path. There was a lot of work, but I've been really able to focus and just completely change my mindset on now being a business owner versus working in the business and being a trainer or a group fitness instructor. Converted all of my independent contractors over to employees, overhauled all of my group programs that we offer, just complete overhaul of that. Implemented a lot of new systems. I had an intern, which I had never had before, never even thought about before, and then brought him in as an employee, and he's working about 27 to 30 hours a week for me now, which is amazing, and really able to grow that personal training side of the business, which is the biggest profit margins for us. So here's the impact of all of those things, which was pretty cool when I started putting this together to see how it all fit in. And the blue line is the first 3 months that we were open. We opened October of 2014, and then the red line is at pretty stale. So that's where my business partner at the time had said, there's no way. We're only making $3,000 to $5,000 in revenue. Our expenses are higher than that. Like, there's just no way that we can do this and both do this. Like, something has to change. This is way too stressful. I've got to get out. This isn't my baby. It was yours. I was just kind of looking for something to do. And while I was excited, I knew that, how am I going to do this? I really didn't know what. And that's then where I joined the NP Accelerator, and that's where we then saw that we raised our rates within the first probably 3-4 months of being in that program, and that just made all of the difference. Now, it wasn't easy going through, so the, I guess, gold kind of orangey line there, it wasn't easy going through that accelerator. Like I said, I barely accomplished things, and we saw some big ups and downs. I still think that anomaly of over 10 in that year, I don't really know what to attribute that to, because we went right back down and then stayed pretty steady. But then we finally got to a point where we're at about 10,000 a month, and my husband said to me, it's time for you, like, you're either at the studio or you're sleeping, or you're working at the studio. Like, we don't spend any time together, you don't see your friends anymore, you need to make the decision. And financially, we feel like we're in a better place to say, you either need to go all in at the studio, or you need to quit that and focus on your day job. So that's when I quit. I left my super comfortable salary, and I went to not really paying myself anything and getting into that now what phase. So we didn't really see much of a growth. So that now what, where I just don't know where to focus on. And that lasted for about a year before I joined the NP Academy. So you can see that line. Yes, we had a good month. Again, I'm not really sure. And we have a boot camp program that kind of helps boost those months a bit. But other than that, it was just a very slow growth until joining NP Academy. And then from there, we've only seen growth and continuation of growth. Hiring employees, we saw a little taper because employees are expensive. Now I have to think about workman's comp. I have to think about sick time. I have to think about time and a half. Like, all of these things that I didn't have to think about just completely changed versus what I was focusing on even in the last year. And then, bringing that intern on and just really growing that personal training side of the business. So the things that really led to success for me this year was the hiring the staff. I mean, it's creating that team around me to where I can step out. Now, I'm still very much in the business. I'm still on the floor a lot, and it's something that I'm trying to work on. But to have and to know I can have people who can fill in for me, or who can take clients, and I not have to take all of those personal training clients coming in. I don't have to teach all of the classes. I have a team of 6 staff right now. Some of them just work a couple hours, but some then work upwards of that 30 hours a week. Implementing those systems, a big thing was making things more automated this year. Everything was so manual, and it most of the time did not get done. I had no way of capturing leads really and acting on them and doing the follow-up sequence, attempt to call sequence, until just recently I actually started honing in on that. I had 20, 30 leads a month, but I was only getting maybe 5-6 consults. So we knew that that was one thing that I have it, but I have to do it. I have to follow through with it. And that leads into some of the accountability, and thank you to Katrina for really helping push me and setting those goals and knowing that I have to get that stuff done because she's counting on me to get it done. I told her I was going to do it. I'm going to do it. And, something that Sean had said too earlier in his presentation was, your mindset really has to change. And those first 3 years, I thought of myself as a group fitness instructor, as a personal trainer, as someone who had the space for other people to come in and teach, because everyone was an independent contractor. They were just coming in, doing their thing. And now this year, I was really able to become a business owner. And it was just a huge mind shift that then raised that ceiling of what I'm able to accomplish. We've done a lot of really cool stuff this year. So our goal of having the community and growing that, our retention rate is over 80%. Like, people don't leave once they get in. We do a lot of things for charity. We do just a lot of fun classes. We've raised over $10,000 for charity. And we just had our 4-year anniversary, which is a huge fun celebration. That's actually what this picture is from. We did a fun class, and then I'll pose for a picture. And even last year, about this time, we were sitting at about 50, 60 members. And it was kind of like a hump that we just couldn't get over. We kept gaining and losing and gaining and losing. And now we then jumped up to about 75, and that was where we were stuck. And now we're getting close to that 100 member of the group side of training, the small group training. And we've really taken the personal training clients from the 4 that I had before. Now we have 15. So, and I only have 6 of them. So Andy has the rest of them, which is awesome. I'm not trading my time for money anymore. And I'm really able to focus on that business. So here we've had some good growth, but that doesn't always mean, like, yes, this looks good, but it wasn't all that great. So with all of those things that were happening that I talked about, and you can see, 2014, we only had about not even a quarter where we're getting some revenue and income in, but we did have about a 50% growth each year up until this year, and we're expected to do a little bit more than that. But our net profit was pretty terrible. Our expenses were pretty high. I didn't even know. I wasn't tracking my money. I had no idea. If I wanted to buy something, I just bought it. Like, I just wasn't good budgeting, just no financial sense, no nothing. And so in 2017, our net profit was only 10%. And now this year we're sitting year to date at about 36%. So that's been the hugest. That's what all of those systems and trusting the process has done, is it's allowed us to now to have a little bit more financial security in the studio, and to know that something happens, or if I need to buy something, or we need to move to a new space, or if I want to open a second location, I now have some room to do that. And we just had our best month ever, which was just this past October. And we had about, excuse me, 25,000 in revenue that month, which was amazing. And I was able to pay myself an extra couple $1,000s, which was awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I was also then able to take and spend some time with my family, which I haven't, or and take trips, which I haven't been able to do in a really long time. My husband and I got married in 2009 in Puerto Vallarta. And this past year, we took a little over a week and went to this place, which was just amazing. No walls, no ceilings, just a bed that we slept in with a little net so we didn't get bit by any bugs, and just peaceful, totally unplugged, no technology. And then we went to the hotel that we got married at, and we spent the rest of the week there. And then we also took 2 weeks and went to my parents' cabin. I still did some work, but I didn't have to physically be at the studio anymore. And it was just so crazy to think that that can actually happen. I actually have some freedom to enjoy my friends. I can get back and start to see them again. We can plan things. We can do things. We can see my husband. We can have dinner together. Not going to work at 3 o'clock in the morning and coming home at 8 o'clock at night anymore. My weekends, I at least have one day on the weekend for free. And my biggest advice to you guys is you've got to love what you do. Now, Sean alluded to this a little bit, but there's so much blood, sweat, and tears that goes into being an entrepreneur. And if you don't love it, it's going to come through in your work. It's going to come through in your clients when you're meeting with them, your employees. That if you don't love it, figure out how to get back to that, or figure out an exit strategy. But you gotta be passionate about it and create a strong team. This has really helped me through this year of growing. Even though it was really expensive and super scary to do that, it was totally worth it. Without these ladies on the screen, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today. And lastly, to celebrate your successes, no matter how small they are or how big they are. You've got to celebrate them, because you're doing amazing things every day. You're touching people's lives, and it's something worth being proud of.